If you were watching last week, you will remember that I said that we have something special coming up, something big for the channel. Well, that thing is here, and it is this, the Ownboard Bamboo Zeus Pro. And with that, back to the studio. First things first, you get a skate tool included. You get basically all of the tools you'll ever need, apart from a small spanner. I would like a small spanner so that you can undo the back trucks. The skate tool doesn't allow you to do that because the motors get in the way. So I had to use a small spanner, which I borrowed off someone else. It'd be nice if there was one of those. Other than that, everything's great. I got 2 spare belts. You get the massive fast charger. It charges the board in about 2.5 hours. You get the remote. Mine came in a complimentary orange silicone cover, which is great. You also get the handle. You can see that attached over there. And I didn't expect this, but you also get a bunch of replacement grip tape. So this is 3mm padded Ownboard grip tape. There's also a bunch of spare screws and washers. That was a nice touch. This board is absolutely beautiful. One of the first boards I've ever visually fallen in love with. As soon as I laid my eyes on it, the oil slick effect on the metal of the board is just, it's perfect. I love it. It looks so good to me. And that drop down deck, it has a very subtle concave, a kind of hump in the middle and more concave either side for your feet. It is beautiful. It's made of fiberglass, bamboo, and Canadian maple. It has a really interesting kind of flex profile that we'll get to a bit later, but it's a solid deck. It's beautiful, it's well made, and it's big. It's a 40-inch deck on the board. One of the reasons I went for the Ownboard over all of the competition was I want something with a ginormous battery, a flexible deck, and big, powerful motors. I wanted a drop-down board, and if you're trying to find a drop-down board like this with a big battery that has big, wide trucks, powerful motors, I mean, you're really limited if you want something flexible. Wow, here's a board with a wooden deck that has a lovely amount of flex to it, and the way it flexes on this board is it doesn't bounce up and down the way it does on my Wowgo 3. It's actually more subtle than that. It's quite strong, and most of the flexibility of the deck seems to actually go into absorbing road vibrations. As I mentioned in previous videos, the roads near me are terrible, so having a board that has a deck designed to absorb that, oh, it's amazing. At the back, we have 2 gigantic motors. They are 6574s. They deliver a huge amount of power. To be honest, far more power than I'm ever going to need. They have an oil slick design on them, and the sound they make, it is addicting to listen to as I accelerate up through the speed modes. I love it. In the pictures on the website, you will see the motor covers next to the street wheel options on the board. These covers aren't actually shipping with the board anymore, so it comes with instead motor covers just like this. That is because after speaking to Ownboard, they said the original motor covers basically did not work as intended. They would sometimes rub on the wheels, so they swapped them out for the all-terrain. Everyone gets the all-terrain now. If you order them, this is exactly what the motor covers will look like, no matter which one you order. I think one of the biggest surprises with this board when I unpacked it was just how big it is. The deck is 40 inches, like I said, with the motors and the wheels. That's a large size increase upon that. It's heavy. This thing weighs 17.5 kilograms, which is basically 10 kilos more than my previous board. It's quite ungainly, to be honest, but Ownboard, as I said, include a complimentary handle in the box, which completely negates all the drawbacks of a big heavy board. Nice work. Let's talk about wheels, because my board here actually came with Clyde Wheel Rover 110s. These were the wheels that I actually wanted for my 2-in-1, whatever I was going to get. But most boards out there don't include those as an option. So what you have is, with a lot of other companies, it might come with 120 Clyde wheels or pneumatics or something like that, maybe street wheels. But there's not many that come with Rovers as an option. So you end up with the board that you then have to buy more wheels and pulleys and belts for. With the Ownboard, there's such a wide variety to choose from when it comes to wheels. I chose Rovers for mine. Means I get them included with the price of the board. I don't have to spend all the money on a board and then go out and buy the wheels I want. I've got it all in one. I've got to say as well, just the Rovers, man, that I'm so happy I chose them. I can carve as deep as I want, as fast as I want. I've never once lost traction with them. They are so grippy. They get really hot as well, which kind of feels cool, you know, when you're working them very hard on the tarmac. But yeah, man, they're exactly what I needed. They are absorb a lot of the bumps in the road. They are grippy as heck, and they're not pneumatics, so there's less to look after, and eventually, you know, when you get up to speed, you're not going to have any speed wobble. This is why I chose the Rovers. While we're on the subject of ride quality, let's talk about it, because that was one of the things I was just absolutely blown away by. Essentially, the combination of that flexible vibration absorbing deck, the Rovers working hard, the fact that it's a belt drive system, not a hub motor board, the immense weight and size, sort of road presence of the board, this all contributes to ride quality that I didn't realize was possible. The first time I stepped on this board, I genuinely felt like my eyes had been opened, like it was kind of euphoric, you know, when Dorothy goes from black and white to color. It was kind of like that, because there's so many roads that I would lose traction on, or that I would get massive pain in my ankle when riding on my Wago 3. I would have to take alternate routes to avoid bad roads. The first ride I did on this, I went straight for the worst road I know near me, and it could glide over it. I mean, I felt nothing. The grip was there, the comfort was there. I was like, wow, this is what I've been missing out on. This is insane. If I'd have known just how much better things could be, I wouldn't have waited, you know, as long as I did to buy a more powerful, more serious board. Definitely, I think, one of my favorite improvements. I am actually thinking about doing a grip tape swap for this board, so that's a video that will be happening very soon. It's not the official Ownboard grip tape that I'm swapping it to. It's something else, something very special, something very custom. You'll want to be watching to see what it is. As I mentioned, the board is big, it's heavy, it's got wide trucks, rather big wheels, a lot of weight behind it. It can just glide over potholes, bumps, cracks in the road, railway lines. You don't feel them at all. It's very similar to a limousine. Like, it's a big, beefy cruiser. It's heavy. It's not going to stop easily. You feel so confident riding it, and you genuinely feel like you could take on anything. Now, with my Wago 3, I have attempted off-roading before, but I've never really been able to. It's just kind of too underpowered and the wheels are too small. This, however, is a completely different story. I spent about half an hour the other day just ragging it through a field. I mean, there is nothing at all on at least a relatively flat, muddy or grassy surface, gravel everywhere, that it can't handle. It's brilliant. I will typically knock it up a notch on the speed. So if I'm riding in 2, I'll knock it to 3. If I'm in 3, I'll knock it to 4, because you do need a bit of extra torque and power to get over, you know, obstacles, rocks, grass, that kind of thing. The Rovers mean the board doesn't have a huge amount of ground clearance. So when you are going off-road, you can't sort of do big dips like this, as you'll see in this video. because the board does tend to bottom out. But that could be fixed if you just fitted some bigger wheels. So it's definitely not a drawback. It's just something to think about when you choose what wheels you want. Let's talk about top speed. Now, this board genuinely terrifies me a little. It is monstrous. It's not something I've ever really experienced before. This board is faster to 30 than my car is by some margin. When I was learning, I was new with the board, I would typically ride around in mode 2. So it's nice, smooth acceleration. It's quite easy to learn. And that maxes out, it's electronically limited to 22 miles an hour. Now I'm comfortable with mode 3. So I was riding around in that. I recently learned that actually if you triple press the speed button, it puts it into turbo mode. I didn't even know there was a turbo mode. So I tried that. I've done a few launches in that as well. It is fast. But I think the main difference is, because the acceleration, in my opinion, doesn't feel too different between mode 3 and turbo. Maybe there's a marginal difference, but nothing major. The main difference on turbo, I think, is just the speed is not electronically limited as it is in 3. So in 3, I think they've got it limited to 31 miles an hour. In turbo, as far as I know, it's just unlimited, and you can theoretically get about 37 to 40, which is crazy. Let's talk about the batteries on this board. So my board, I chose the Molicel M50A 25 amp hour, 1170 watt hour option. That is massive, absolutely massive. There is also a smaller version available. It is a Molicel P42A 21 amp hour, 982.8 watt hour battery. That one I think has a slightly higher discharge rate. So you may see potentially a tiny bit more speed, a bit more aggression on that one. But obviously you would be getting a slightly smaller range. With all my protective gear on, my bag with all my work equipment in, I am probably about 100 kilos on the board, so I'm not a light guy. And typically on my rovers with pretty aggressive riding, quite a lot of hills, I start and stop every now and then. In mid to cold temperatures, I've been able to get about 30 to 35 miles on the board. So more than enough than you'd ever realistically need. I can get literally any location that I have to go to. I go to work, I go to my parents, I go to my training school where I learn to wrestle. I can go to all 3 of these locations on the board if I need to. Now, I think there must have been some mid-cycle refresh on the Bamboo, because every post I've seen and every YouTube review I've seen of this board here, they have a kind of flimsy battery cover that a lot of people complained about coming loose and falling off. My board actually has a proper screw cap, and the charger also is a screw-in piece of kit, so there is no chance that battery cover is ever going to fall off. There's no chance the charger is ever going to get disconnected. It is so secure. The charger, while we're on the subject, as I said, it fully charges the board from basically empty in about 2.5 to 2 hours 50 minutes. It's quite loud, but that's because it has an inbuilt fan, so it doesn't get too hot. I'm pretty happy with it. It's massive, but the charger is a solid piece of kit. Now, I've had 1 or 2 issues with the board, which I'll be completely honest with you guys about. The motor guard on the board, when I got it, it wasn't tightened up quite properly. So as I was riding about, it was kind of banging whenever I was going over rough terrain, sort of clanging off the motors. The bars on the motor guard, I've had a couple of those actually shake themselves loose while I'm riding. So the screws have come out and it's fallen off. So I've luckily been able to collect them every time notice has happened. The front truck on the board, when I got it, wasn't attached too tightly. There was quite a bit of wiggle room, so there was a lot of rattling around as I was riding. No issues with the battery, no issues with the motor. Every important and expensive part of the board is absolutely fine. The full extent of my issues were just things not quite tightened up as tight as I would like. Things I was able to fix myself in under 5 minutes per time, with parts that Ownboard included for free. So I'm pretty happy. As far as issues go, I don't view that as a deal breaker in any way. I got express delivery with my board, and what that meant is, despite me expecting it to take about a month to show up, most boards I get from China do take about a month to show up, this arrived in a week, like a solid week. It's incredible. I was so shocked when it showed up.
I had to pay £40 custom charge. You may have to be wary of that. If you buy it, you may get hit with a customs charge, but yeah, like a week for a massive board from China. I'm over the moon with that delivery time.
So what's my conclusion? Well, I've spent about 5 years riding around on a Hub Motor Wago 3. That board, I love it to death, but genuinely, like, stepping on this board after about 5 years of being on a Hub Motor Wago, it's a whole other thing. Like, it's not just a level above, it is leagues above. This is a completely different animal to anything I've ever ridden before. If you've been on mid-budget level longboards and you're thinking it's time to up the game a little, I can recommend nothing better. Like, it's hard to quantify the difference. This feels like a vehicle, you know, like it feels like a substantial, really well made piece of kit, a vehicle. I have not an ounce, not a drop of regret for this purchase. I absolutely love this board. It protects you from even the worst roads in the country. You get a puddle, it's not a problem. It's got IP56 water resistance. You get a hill, you can just go up it. You get mud, you get gravel, you get grass. It doesn't matter, it's unstoppable.
If I'd have known what I was missing out on, I would have jumped on an Ownboard, God, like over a year ago. It's been an absolute world of difference. If you are looking to get onto an Ownboard yourself, use this code, DinoDudeRocket. That's right, DinoDudeRocket as there, and you can get yourself $100 off your very own. That's incredible to get that code. Thank you, Ownboard, for that. It also is an affiliate code, so if you do use that code, the channel gets a very small kickback. Regardless of the fact that I have an affiliate code though, I want to be very clear that my opinion in this video is genuine. My priority is to help you spend your money effectively. I know how hard it is to make money, and I would never ever recommend a product that I didn't believe in. So despite the fact that I am affiliated, Ownboard haven't seen this video, they're watching it for the first time, just like you. I've not been given a script, I've not been told what I can or can't say. Every drawback I've encountered, I've told you. These are my true opinions, and my recommendation is genuine. I really hope you like this video. I spent so much time making it, but it was a huge amount of fun. If you enjoyed watching it, please leave me a like. I beg you, leave me a like. If you have nothing important to say, please leave a comment still, because comments boost videos in the algorithm. They help it get seen by more people. So yeah, even if you don't put anything in your comment, just leave one. It will mean the world to me. If you have any questions about the Ownboard, then leave them down below. I will answer them as soon as I can. If we get enough, I might even do a follow-up video about it. To see that, as well as my upcoming customization video, I beg you, please subscribe to the channel. There's also an electric skateboard playlist linked in the description. So if you like this video and you want to see more from me, there's a link there with currently several other videos in it, just like this one. Hopefully you'll enjoy. Down below that link, you'll also find my affiliate links for Ownboard, Tiny, and Meepo, the manufacturers. I'm so grateful they've supported the channel. If you're considering making a purchase from any of those people, please use my link. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you all have an absolutely wonderful day. I'll see you soon.